you. We've spoken so much about technology so far, and it could get overwhelming sometimes. We discussed it earlier. A lot of retailers, a lot of businesses, not just retailers, have been using all of these technology as buzzword and just using it for the sake of using it because, everyone is. At this point, how much technology would you say is too much tech? And with retail specifically, with the infusion of in-store technologies that are driving engagement and revenue, how would vividness still play a role, considering that has been so important for so many years in terms of stocking shelves and all of that in the physical space? What's your take?
Well, I would not use the term technology or too much technology. So I think, again, the point is the use case. Yeah. And I think that is where sometimes people miss the trick and people just say that, okay, this looks very geeky, let me also implement it. You need to make sure that technology is one piece of the whole kind of transformation or evolution, as Ashish calls it. Yeah. To say that you have to have people, you have to have a process, and then technology makes sense. If you just bring in something which does not gel well with the process and the people who are there, it has no meaning. And that is what, to me, technology is not fit for purpose. And a lot of people are doing that. But over a period of time, I think technology is going to be the sole differentiator the way retailers are competing on. And maybe it is a little far-fetched, and I think Amazon has taken it ahead, and Walmart is competing very, very strongly in the US in terms of creating ecosystems. Yeah. And that is where the whole belief is that customers will not have siloed journeys. Yeah. If you think from a customer perspective, who would want to go for a beauty into a beauty store, fashion into a fashion store, footwear into a footwear store, mobile into a mobile store, grocery into a grocery store, and so on and so forth? Nobody wants that, right? And for your financing need, go into a bank. For your travel needs, go into some travel portal. So I think this whole ecosystem play will be much more stronger in the days to come. And that will have to be built on a very, very strong technology platform. So they will be ecosystem marketplaces, as I call it. Yeah, they will be ecosystem marketplaces. Now we have kind of verticalized marketplaces in which there is general merchandise and everything. I'm pretty sure the mergers will happen in which you will have travel plus hospitality plus general merchandise all put together and bundled as offering. Yeah. So I think that is where maybe it is maybe 10 years away, but I think I'm pretty sure people will buy experiences. If people say that, okay, I am taking this trip, for that I need these many things, and this is the package that I get out of it. Includes fashion, includes travel, includes my everything put together. Yeah. And that is where the evolution happens, from individual sector verticalized offerings to more consolidated offerings, and you are able to now play to the choices and the needs of the customer. And that is where the persona building of the customer really begins to play out. And if I know Shruti likes these things across these 5 categories, I can bundle that. And if I bundle that, just imagine the wow factor that I will give it to you. Yeah. And that is where the whole AI and the technology will start playing out. Now, I know Ashish is smiling, but this is, I'm pretty sure, going to be a reality in not very far.
I was listening to you, Piyush, and you make it seem as if the retailer will become the API in this conversation.
Yeah, it will be. It's a product is no longer going to be a differentiator.
That's very interesting, right? Because right now, today, we're talking about stores becoming a stage. It's not really a place of transaction anymore. The store is media itself. The store is your marketing campaign. It's not a place where people sell things, because you have the phone to do that. You have online and e-commerce portals to do that. Another point you very interestingly mentioned was, not being able to work in silos anymore. So I think that's where, Miro, you could probably enter the conversation, where, partnerships have been known to save time and money. But in regards to the conversation we are having today, what kinds of retail, tech, and solution collaborations could help push the digital incumbents to become digital natives in the context we're talking about right now? I know there aren't a lot of digital incumbents in this platform today, but for the sake of the industry at large, what do you think should happen?
Good question. So if we're looking today at the industry and we're talking about digitalization, automation, actually there are very few places and very few companies that are completely digitally integrated from the moment when they're ordering from their own suppliers, all the way to the end touch point of fulfillment, including the distribution center processing, dispatch, retail point fulfillment, etc. Very few of them. And the reason why I'm saying very few of them is because in end effect, we have been used to purchasing piecemeal deals. I want to put a picking solution. I want to put a warehouse solution. I want to put a WMS. No, I want to put now a WCS in order to be controlling what is happening inside. I want to put a conveyor belt because I'm having employee turnover. But when it comes to holistic thinking, this is where it becomes a bit more complex. And the reason behind is because companies are indeed trying to cooperate together in this space and bring it forward. But in end effect, so just to give you an example, if you really want to get the full efficiency and the full saving of your warehouse, you cannot just talk about the people, the conveyor belts and the automation, or the building itself. You have to talk about all of them at the same time, at the same place. So that's where the cooperations or the corroborations or the collaboration kicks in, because there are different digital players along the field. You're having the digital play of the building management, the digital play of the people, whether this is, for example, safety profile, for example, labor profile, for example, efficiency profile, security profile, etc., etc. So how do we put them together? I'm not even going to talk about the medical profile in here. So these various things, they all contribute to more or less or loss of efficiency, loss of operation. And there is a need and there is a lot of opportunity of playing collaboratively. And now this time I'm not going to sell Honeywell, even though in end effect, when you're looking around, there is nobody else that actually plays along all the three fields: the building, the people, the automation, the process. I mean, if you're looking at the buildings, you're talking about various companies that are in building automation, HVAC, energy efficiency, etc. When we're talking about the people, you're having various companies that are providing you labor management, providing you uptime, downtime, scaling, training, etc. When you're talking about the auto ID, yes, there is a bunch of them, whether this is Western European, North American, Chinese, Asian, it doesn't matter. But then when you're talking about putting it all together, the first question that comes is, but why do we need to? Why do we need to is because we don't have a choice. When you're going into a fulfillment center that is moving at 40 to 80,000 packages an hour, you don't have a choice. It actually, the way how you can always think about it is a Formula One tire change. It's not only about the car, the tires, the driver, or the people that are changing the tires, or the people on the back that are giving them the tires. It's about the entire process in order for you to be able to change tires in 3 seconds. It's the same inside in a warehouse. So the place for collaboration, it's not a matter of should we, but how exactly in order to get the highest yield, because we actually don't have a choice. The speed of fulfillment and the precision of fulfillment and the ability to flexibly change, especially when it comes to types of SKUs, types of preferences of consumers, is the actual competitive advantage.
Right. Great. So I think, Philip, you might be able to just add value to what he said. Just at the back of the collaboration and the things that you can't do without at this point, right? We've spoken about one vertical of retail in the past, which is toy retailers globally. They've taken a massive hit for a number of reasons, ranging from, lack of merchandise last year because there weren't any movies, and that sort of had a hit on the toy retailers. Then there are the other retailers like Lulu and Spinneys, etc. They're biting into your market. They are also selling toys, and they do a lot of holiday season promotions, etc. So there are a range of reasons why toy retailers globally are struggling. However, Early Learning Center did relatively well, and you can probably give us the figures for it. I'd like to know how, considering there are a lot of elements that retailers today have to keep in mind when it comes to experience. There are concept stores, there are other integrations within the store. Do you also see technology playing a role there, or is it the entire idea and the revolutionizing of this segment of retail which is going to help?
So just on the toy sector, so the main pressure for a lot of toy retailers over the past sort of 5 to 10 years has basically been from the big pure players like Amazon and in this region even players like and then you've got obviously the pure plays like Mum's World. So for a physical retailer, obviously that puts a lot of pressure on competition.
Yeah.
But what we have to do is kind of think about, okay, what do we have that we can leverage, which they don't have? And in our case, we've got over 120 early learning center stores. So obviously that's a huge asset to us. So, in terms of implementing technology, and it kind of goes back to what Piyush was saying on the use cases, you need to understand why you're putting the technology in place. An example of that could be our click and collect in our early learning centres, and the fact that you can do click and collect on the same day, also have it gift wrapped. Because we know that, as parents, we forget about presents, we need to grab last minute presents, etc. So if you can just jump on the ELC mobile app or the website and you can, select your toy, have it gift wrapped and then go down to the store and collect it on the way to the birthday party, obviously that is super convenient. And that is something that the likes of Amazon or Mum's World can't do. So yeah, we don't just do these things for no reason at all, and we've got endless aisle as well in early learning centre, and that's kind of almost like a defence, I suppose, against competition. Because if a customer walks into one of our toy stores and the product's out of stock or it's not available for whatever reason, our store associates can jump on the POS. They can find that in our network, in our warehouse, and they can have that picked, packed and shipped to the customer's house. So the customer leaves the store, satisfied and not empty-handed. If they left the store unfulfilled, then the first thing they're going to do is jump on their mobile and probably find the product on Amazon or Noon. So, it's implementing these technologies for good reasons and to make sure that you can sort of keep up with the competition. We also we also go on the offence as well. In a matter of weeks, we're going to be launching a loyalty subscription for Early Learning Centre. Now, if the way we're positioning it is almost like Amazon Prime but for toys. I can't go into the details right now because it's not launched yet, but it's going to be launched in the coming weeks. But basically, parents will be able to just subscribe for the year for a very small amount, and they will get a huge amount of benefits that far outweigh what they've paid in the subscription. So, it's a case of bringing technology together for good reasons and not just doing it for technology's sake, but also being conscious of your competition, particularly in the toy sector where it's very, very aggressive. You need to be able to sort of fight back with these new implementations.
Great. So I think that is another thing that we need to discuss in more detail. And I know we don't have much time, but then just quickly we can go around about what the use cases are specifically for your vertical of using technology, and what are the kinds of technology and what have you used it for. If we can just go around that. So what are the pain points that in-store technologies has been able to solve for Danube Homes specifically, especially in the past year? And going forward, what are the technologies that you would be investing in order to reduce any kind of friction you might have?
Yeah. So, the first thing is that in terms of our business model, as I said, we have spent, first thing which we did is the virtual store, where we have turned the whole store to a virtual platform, where a customer, without visiting the store from his sitting in his couch, he can see the store, and where we are trying to do it on a very, very frequent basis in terms of changing the new collection or new product line, which customer can see from there. And beside that, we are trying to automate or invest in the technology in terms of how we reach to the customer. Now, customer can communicate through email, customer can communicate through WhatsApp, customer can communicate through multiple social media channels. But how we bring all the communication to one platform where it will be very seamless in terms of interacting with the customer. Beside that, from ages, we are using the delivery management system, where we do the routing of the way and understand that how best we can utilize our vehicle, how best we can utilize the overall resources in terms of delivery. But now we're trying to automate the whole system. Like, In fact, generally, just if I give an example, we define that this is a knockdown sofa which requires only 20 minutes for delivery installation. So based on that, we have built the DMS. But now understand that there are three kind of manpower. One is the very technically astute guy. 20 minutes work he can do in 15 minutes. So another guy who is the new joinee, but he might take 30 minutes. So how do we incorporate those kind of things in the overall technology perspective so that we can really define on a real-time basis in terms of installation of the product and utilizing the resources in a better way? Like
Great.
that, yeah. So like
Sorry,
that,
we're just running a little short on time, so I'm just going to take the 3 picks from you, and thanks for those inputs, Syed. I'm going to come to you now, Ashish. I know you had comments, or you were at least smiling when Piyush was talking about experience economy, which is why I would like to talk to you about that. Retail as a segment is contributing massively to experience economy. We're talking about experiential retail. So from, again, an electronics retailer's point of view, and again, you can talk to us about other verticals of retail as well, where do you see that going, and how do you see we can optimally put experiences into the best optimal use?
Yes, so I think retail has well, electronics has always been evolving. I don't think you ever go past an electronics store and see it look the same for 3 or 4 years. We're innovating constantly, because what we sell is technology, and we've been taking advantage of that. I think the bigger thing that we've started to see with examples from the Samsung stores that we run is the concept of being out of stock is disappearing, because of the fact that we can now link up with not only our inventory, but the inventory of other retailers as well, to make sure that the fulfillment can happen to the customer. And that's actually quite important, because when you think of the customer at the end of the day, they don't care where they get it from. It's the same box. And the fact that you can start to link up in that way actually benefits the whole ecosystem. And for us, that is one of the bigger things that we've done in the recent months.
Amazing. And Piyush, coming to you, I think I was telling you earlier as well, I've been going to Lulu for ages now. When I was back in Oman about 15 years back, the Lulu there in the supermarket, in the fish and grocery segment, they had an aquarium. And for little kids, it was amazing. So that for me was experience. Since then, how much has experience or experiential retail evolved? And for a grocery supermarket segment, what do you see the result of having more experiences and having more wow elements within a store?
Yeah, so I think food retail, people try to make it interesting. And if you visit any Lulu store at any point of time, there will be some festival or the other going on. Either it would be Little Cooks Festival, there would be a Mango Festival, there would be India Festival. So we have a line of these because we want to curate the whole experience around food, right? Which is what grocery retail is all about. How do you make food interesting? And people, one thing that people, how much evolution everybody goes through, food is something that will be attraction. It evolves over a period of time, but I think that is one of the big attractions. And how do you make that food selling more interesting? How do you engage the customers? So we tie up with a lot of influencers, we tie up with a lot of celebrity chefs, we do a lot of competitions to basically keep on engaging and teaching them new ways of cooking stuff. There are country festivals, there are festivals which is related to certain themes, certain countries, and so on and so forth. So I think that is one way of looking at it. The other is, how can you blend that with the other experiences which is out there? So for example, we believe that hot food as a category is booming, and I think people are more moving towards, unlike in the past, I'm saying pre-COVID, people did not believe too much in hot and prepared food, at least in this region, unlike the Western places. I think that there's a big shift in which people are now adopting hot food, packed food, and things like that. So we'll see a lot of innovation which is happening, which is where cloud kitchens are also making a big foray into, and we believe that we also can move towards that and then kind of grab the customer's attention in that direction.
No, Piyush, not another vertical that you're going to take over. we just spoke about toys, and now you want to get into cloud kitchens as well. Lulu, looks like there's going to be a massive takeover here. But again, I'd just like to thank everybody who's joined us in this panel. Valuable insights as always, great discussion.